Welcome to the West Ham Voice, a quick show on the situation with Kurt Zouma. And looking at the back history of Kurt Zouma and wondering and asking ourselves whether it was the right choice to have ever bought the player in the first place. As we know, the club has made a decision last week to allow Kurt Zouma to have surgery on his knee. And it was announced on the West Ham official West Ham website. He'll have a time of recuperation back at Rush Green, etc. And we wish him well, etc., etc. Look, we all know that Kurt Zouma didn't look right in the Leicester game. Apparently, there was speculation whether he should have played or not before the game started, and he looked out of sorts even at the time when we kicked off. And many will say that it's a direct result or a massive contributor as to why we went 1-0 down quite early on in the game, because Zouma looked like he was limping. He wasn't getting back into position in time, and we went a goal down. Now, we've been told that Zouma has had a knee surgery, but we've not been told what that surgery is about, what kind of knee surgery it is. So, as me, being the ever inquisitive, I sort of tried to look at the different types of knee surgeries you can have and the amount of time it takes to recuperate from them. Look, there's a main surgery, which is a knee replacement, which we kind of know, kneecap replacement, which we kind of know that he's not had. Otherwise, that would be pretty serious. But there are a number of different knee surgeries that you can have. There's the meniscus surgery, which can take anything between 3 to 6 months in recovery period. So the meniscus is a cartilage that acts as a shock absorber in your knee. You can tear it easily by twisting your knee. Smaller tears to the outer parts of the meniscus will heal and don't require surgery. But other surgery, other meniscus injuries can sort of take longer and do require surgery to repair the damage. When you damage your meniscus, the symptoms include pain, swelling, problems moving your joints, because there are stuck pieces of cartilage in the knee. The type of surgery needed on the meniscus can only be identified when inserting a small camera into the knee. The first attempt is to repair the meniscus, but if that's not possible, then it has to be completely removed. Recovery from the meniscus, as I said, will take anything between 3 to 6 months. If that's the case, we will be without Kurt Zouma until either the end of February at the earliest. But even then, he will have to get up to match fitness again, start running again, etc., which can take several more months on top of that. So at best, we're looking like being without him until around about March. And at worst, we're looking like being without him until the end of the season, until the beginning of next preseason. The next common injury or the next common surgery is the anterior cruciate ligament, which itself can take anything up to 6 months for recovery period. And ACLs, as we know, often are quite common in the sporting world. Surgery is not needed for a slight tear. Only when your entire ligament needs to be replaced will surgery then happen. The replacement is woven through the knee joint and attached to the upper and lower leg bones. Real tissue is used for the replacement. Sometimes this will come from another part of the body, which will make the surgery take more time. And at other times, a donated tissue needs to be used. Like I said, if it's that, it can take up to 6 months to recover from that type of surgery. And then again, rehabilitation after that, sort of getting back to match fitness, etc., which again means that the player may not be back at West Ham until the new season. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm only speculating. I'm only reading what types of knee surgeries are common. And so far, the meniscus and the ACL are two sort of common types of surgery. There are other surgeries, of course. There's knee osteotomosis. Sometimes it's done when only one side of the knee is affected by things like arthritis. In this surgery, your bones removed, rearranged, shifted, etc., so that your weight lands more evenly on the knee. Healing time for that, 8 to 12 weeks, if it was that. Then there is a knee plica surgery. which is often performed alongside other surgeries like the meniscus. So if it's going to take you 3 to 6 months to get over the meniscus, it's going to take you just as long to get over something like the knee plica. Or finally, there's the arthrocentesis surgery, or basically removal of fluid on the knee. This is a 24-hour procedure, which requires no recovery time at all. And if that was the case, the club wouldn't have even bothered to announce that Zouma has had any type of surgery at all. So for me, it sounds like if it's a proper surgery, it sounds like it could be an ACL. It sounds like it could be the meniscus. If it's the meniscus, short time span, maybe 3 months for Zuma to return. If it's the ACL, it could be a lot longer. It could be anything up to 6 months. Now, I wonder, when we look back at the summer transfer window of 2021, if you recall, we kept yo-yoing between Kurt Zouma and the next minute we were looking at Fiorentina centre-back Nikola Milenkovic. And 1 minute we'd agreed a deal for the Serbian international, and next minute we were closer to agreeing a deal with for Zuma. And I just wonder, when you look back at that, whether the Milenkovic deal, only available at £15 million at the time. He was in the last year of his contract with Fiorentina. And then we kind of told, once we'd signed Zuma, that there were all other factors that were involved in not getting the Milenkovic deal over the line. You know, disagreements between agents. There were too many agents involved. Agents wanted a really big signing on, a really big fee for themselves, which inflated the £15 million transfer fee and so on and so forth. And I just wonder if that was maybe a bit of a smokescreen between the fact that the Milenkovic deal sounded more like a Sullivan deal and the Zuma deal sounded more like a Moyes deal. Now, is it fair to say that Sullivan wanted Milenkovic, Moyes wanted Zuma? Or is it more fair to say that Sullivan was concerned about signing Zuma because of his history of injuries, especially with his knee? Now, if we look back at Zuma's career, when he was at Saint Etienne, these are all knee injuries, not any other injuries. These are directly related to knee injuries. When he was at Saint Etienne, he missed 105 days, 4 games due to knee injury. When he was at Chelsea, he missed 339 days. He was basically out injured for all that time, missing 34 games. So you could see that some of these injuries had happened out of season. But basically, he missed virtually a whole season when he was at Chelsea. He missed 7 days, 1 game when he was on loan to Stoke City. And now at West Ham, he looks like he's missing anything between 3 to 6 months, again, because of knee injury, this time surgery. So when you look back at that deal, there's also the issue that apparently we hear that Zuma is under a special fitness regime, a little bit like what Ledley King was at when in his playing day. So when you hear this thing, when you look at 10 years of knee injuries, when you look at the special regime that apparently Zuma has to go through in training, you've got to ask yourself, was Moyes right to pursue Zuma? I guess one thing, we knew that Zuma had Premier League experience, and we know how important it is for Moyes when he's looking at a defender, that Premier League experience is probably one of the things highest on his agenda. But for Sullivan, who actually has to part with his money, you know, you could argue that quite possibly that Sullivan, because of the injury record that Zuma had, may have been right in this case. And maybe we should have pursued the Milenkovic deal over the Zuma deal. It's quite interesting because Milenkovic has missed 9 days in his career due to injury, of which 4 were this season, but that was for some kind of muscular injury and nothing to do with his knees. And at 25 years of age, Milenkovic has just gone from strength to strength. In fact, he's actually increased his contract with Fiorentina again till 2027, which means he's going to be worth much more than £15 million if a club wants to come in and buy him. Whereas with Zuma, at the age of 28, he should be at his peak of his career, and yet he's blighted by injury after injury after injury. And that's a concern. So we spent nearly £30 million on Zuma, where we could have spent 15 million on Milenkovic and had a player that was far fitter. So has Moyes made a mistake in that respect? Has he gone out and bought a player knowing that he had a series of injuries, especially on his knee? And is this something that's going to come back to bite us over the period of time? It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the January transfer window, whether it be David Moyes or whether it be another manager at the helm, to see if they're going to go into the transfer market to look at replacing Kurt Zouma, because it sounds to me that he could be out for a lot longer than just a few months that's been suggested. If he's out for anything between 3 to 6 months, 3 months is bad. But he'll be back around March and maybe in time for the Europa Conference league games to be restarted. Or if it's longer, 6 months, he could miss the whole season. It's a surprise that we've had players like this in the past in West Ham's history, and we kind of like thought that we were away from that now. But having Zuma being away for 3 to 6 months could be a big deal for West Ham. We've already got Ogbonna, who's only just come back from a long-term injury himself, a Gerd, who's only just come back from a long-term injury. So like I asked the question, in this case, was Sullivan right to be worried about signing Kurt Zouma in the first place? Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, do hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll be back soon with another short video.